Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Whoa! Hey everybody, welcome to the first crossover episode for our faithful fans of Pretty Smart. From Pretty Smart, we've got Morgan here, the beautiful and talented Morgan, the beautiful and talented Taishay. How are y'all ladies doing?
I'm great.
Yeah.
Right. They said they were going to do a crossover episode. Looked like the rest of y'all got scared. What happened?
Mm-hmm. Y'all's introduction is cute or whatever.
I'm trying to figure out why y'all got videos. Why y'all got videos? Where's our video?
You want to take that up with the producer right now? Is that what
yes, I do. We need to do over on ours.
Oh, damn.
And then from Brilliant Swag, we've got Jordan Hendricks.
What it do, man? What's going on?
Voiceover specialist. We got Jackson.
What's up with y'all?
JH. All right, or white chocolate if you want to call him that. Then we got OJ on here because we needed at least 3 black guys on here today. So we got OJ. OJ is new here. So today we're talking about a topic that's we can go all over the place with it. We're going to talk about a bunch of topics dealing with. You know what? Instead of just going over the topics, I'm just going to start by throwing out the word, and you tell me what comes to mind. Taishay, when you hear toxic masculinity, what comes to mind for you?
Honestly, when you first said that, I'm like, toxic. It's like a jacked up man who is just a man, a alpha man. I don't really know like the actual definition of it, so I'm excited to hear what y'all have to say about that.
Okay, Morgan, what about you when you hear that word, toxic masculinity?
Well, see, I think at the point when it becomes toxic is when you're sort of overexerting your masculinity onto other people and like feeling this need to prove the fact to other people that you're like a man and telling people that if they do certain things that makes them less of a man. And sort of like it almost stems from insecurity, in my opinion, because it's like if you can be very masculine, but you don't feel the need to like say that all the time and sort of like make sure that it's apparent and everybody knows that you're super masculine and tell other people that like if they do certain things that makes them less of a man. I think that's at the point where it becomes toxic.
Oh, you mean like when a guy finds out I like guys and then so they tell me I'm not really a man and then I choke the shit out of them and I say I'm a man now and they can't breathe. I'm like, tell me I'm a man, I'll let you go. You're a man.
That would be a good example. Yeah.
Jackson, when you hear male security, a secure male, what comes to mind? What is that for you?
Secure male?
Yeah, a male who's secure in who he is.
Just a man who knows that, like who he is, what he wants to do. Like he's a man, but he's not like he's the opposite of toxic. He's not a dickhead. Like he's just a guy, like just an everyday Joe, kind of like I do man stuff, but I pee sitting down. You know what I'm saying? Like
I like that.
I feel like you and Taishay are gonna get along.
I know.
OJ, have you ever heard the words female intimidation?
Yes, I have.
What does that mean? What does that mean when you hear that?
When I hear female intimidation, I'm thinking of a woman who's being come off very brash or hardened at first, just because of things that she may be going through or have been through. So she's got to have the rough exterior, and so that can come off as very intimidating to a lot of men when it comes to meeting women, and even other women too. It can be very intimidating when somebody just has a front that you're not sure of.
Awesome. Jordan, same question for you.
I think when people hear about women,
Damn, Jordan got that good mic.
oh, when I think of women having when people think of intimidation through strong women, I think like they're afraid of a woman being successful and being on their own without needing somebody to kind of rely on, and to the certain men that kind of look for certain women that that need them to be dependent on. I think that's what I think of when men hear that.
Does it make you less masculine if you are with a woman who, is doing a job just the same as you and helping take care of the household? Does that make you less of a man? Because people view these roles and like you should stay in that lane. Me and my wife were very proud to share the bills. I mean,
yeah,
we both worked. We paid all the bills, and
I think that's very old school for people to think like a woman should do certain things and a man should do certain things. Because nowadays it's very even, like you said. Like you don't have any problem with sharing the bills because we're all equal people, just kind of trying to make it,
So yeah, because we all gonna go in debt together.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. So so it's got to be fair game all around.
So let's start talking about because the double standards are always there. Let's talk about the workplace, because men, especially in management positions, in my opinion, I have no factual statistics. We're all going on based off of what we experience in life. We have a certain degree that they don't have of where we can be blunt and more brash in the workplace than a woman. Does that make sense, Taisha?
Yeah, and I believe it. I mean, no, because there are women that can come off like that as well. But for the most part, yeah, I feel like men are more like that, and that's why they get the higher jobs, and they, honestly, a lot of people are intimidated by that kind of stuff, especially when it comes to like sales and stuff, because, or even like in healthcare, a lot of women prefer other women because they don't want that man to come off so blunt to them about stuff. And men have that to them. They have that, we don't carry our emotions or feelings, so we can be, as blunt as we want to be. And so I feel like a majority of men definitely do that.
Well, Morgan, does that fit that double standard of if I do it in the workplace as a male, that's me being a boss. If you do it, it's you being a bitch.
Right. I mean, I think that's the issue is that when you're a boss, not everyone behaves the same exact way, but it's like you are the authoritarian in that office space. So like when you're authoritative as a man, it's just, oh, he's being a boss. And as a woman, it's like, oh, she's a bitch. And that's a huge issue. And I think it's particularly an issue when you have like a female superior with male like subordinates. And I will say that my mother is a business owner and she has a business partner who is also a woman, and they cannot keep male employees. They can't. They don't last ever. And it's in large part it's because they cannot take orders from two women. Like they clash. And obviously they don't say that when they leave, like, oh, I'm leaving because you guys are women, but it's like that's where a lot of the issues stem from, is they can't handle.
Do you think it's that, or do you think it's more like, what if it's like, because men kind of communicate different than women, like you said, the bluntness or the simplicity of men, there's some things that may happen sometimes where maybe women have to explain things a little simpler, or something like that, or I don't know the situation that right. I'm saying that would happen, but if a man, like, you got to think about it like that, because women are very detailed a lot of the times, and some men aren't like that. So maybe it's something of a communication thing, and then it gets interrupted because a man gets frustrated, and then they just kind of separate.
Yeah, but I think to her point is, if it was the male boss doing the same exact thing, they don't have a problem. I know that can be a problem for some men. I know
Yeah.
that's not a problem for all
And
men.
that's an issue in
I
itself
was
too.
in one of the first combat units that had the females put in. Back in 2003, when the Army started to let females go into combat units, I was in air defense, and we got a female lieutenant. I
Yeah.
was a platoon. I mean, I was a squad leader at the time, and I remember she got mad at me for something. She told me to do push-ups, and I said absolutely not, and I walked away. And
Mhm.
she went to the platoon sergeant. She says, "I think Sergeant Stevens is disrespecting me. He didn't do the push-ups because I'm a female." And he said, "With all due respect, ma'am, he didn't do it for the male officer anyway either. I just
Yeah.
didn't push for second lieutenants. I didn't do it." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Get away from me."
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I can see
Hold
that.
on 1 second.
she thought I was
I can see
doing it
that.
because she was a woman. And it's like, no, I do it with anybody that has your rank on.
Yeah.
OJ, let's talk about that. Why do you feel, because the Morgan has talked about that, why do you feel some men can't be under women in a managerial capacity?
Gosh, I feel like that can have a lot to do with like how they grew up or just like things that they dealt with. Because you can come from a home where you've always been suppressed and where you've always seen women being suppressed. And even if men were not properly leading or properly providing, they were the man. So it was just kind of like put out that, well, this is how the person that is above me is. This is the best thing I can mimic right now, or this is the best thing I can learn from. This is the best thing I can know.
Hell yeah. That's communication.
Exactly.
Bad communication.
Bad communication on whose part?
Growing up, maybe like, whatever. Or
Shoot,
whatever.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
my bad. No. I wasn't cutting you off. It's the mic. It's the mic. It's the.
It's like bad communication from the grown up to the person as a kid, or just being an adult, not being aware of how much like people as kids can suck up. Like kids are sponges, and so I feel like a lot of what causes men to not want to be led by women or just led a certain way in general is just a longing for wanting dominance they've never had.
Well, I think that opens a door for something. Let's talk about the machismo. My grandfather and dad were very good trying not to teach me. I don't have to overly man myself. And I know a lot of friends that grew up where their father was dripping machismo, and it's like everything is hard. Emotions, talking. I saw a lot of kids growing up around me where their dad was like, "Keep that shit in," or "Screw that shit," and my dad was like, "No, talk about it. What's wrong? What's the problem?" And I think that's why I can communicate with women a lot better than some of my counterparts. Jackson, what do you say to that?
About the emotion?
Growing up and learning how to communicate with women.
I think that my generation is going to be one of the last generations to have been told, keep it bottled in. Because as I was a kid, my dad would tell me like keep it to myself, stuff like that. But it's becoming normalized for all over social media. You go all over social media, and people are saying it's okay for men to feel this way. It's okay for men to have these feelings. So I think as that becomes more and more widespread, my kids will know it's okay, and then my kids' kids will know it's okay, and eventually it'll just go extinct because everybody's going to evolve and believe that feelings are feelings and everybody's allowed to have them.
Who do you think combats that more, ladies? The men who are telling these men that are expressing their feelings, calling them betas because they're expressing their feelings, or you'll have women. We've seen videos and we've seen women out there that go, "I don't want a man like that. I need a man. I need the old school man."
I think that, I don't know. I think that men openly shame other men more often. And so you get that more. But I really do believe that like men and women do the same thing. They'll do what the opposite sex wants. So if it were, I feel like more widespread that like women want men who are more emotionally vulnerable, or I forget the term you used earlier, metrosexual. Like if that was like more of the trend in terms of like what women wanted, I think that would be a much more widespread thing.
You know what? That's kind of true because it's gone through stages, right? Women used to always want a man that had a beard. women used to all, and I remember the 70s. Women loved the chest hair.
Right.
You know, like,
Yeah.
2000s, they're like, cut that shit off.
Mhm.
You were scrubbing me like a Brillo pad when we cuddle. Like,
Right.
Right.
I really do think that it's like whatever the opposite sex wants, that's what people are gonna do. And I mean, the same goes for women though, because I when the Kardashians blew up, now all of a sudden everyone's getting BBLs. Like it really is about impressing other people. Like,
I
yeah.
heard something totally different than what you said. Never mind. We don't need to put that.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
That's a whole other subject. And
Right.
Like, even the thing, like, it's not just men, like women do it too, and I recognize that. But yeah.
Well, I mean, double standards. Like Jordan was talking about his last generation being the last ones to worry about feelings, but the double standards I still see even in today. Jordan is younger than me. He says he doesn't see it as much. Jackson says he doesn't see it as much. But when I'm watching people younger than me, I still kind of see it. Maybe I'm hearing different or listening different. The double standards, and we know what a lot of the double standards are, especially when it comes into realm of sex, right?
Mhm.
We talked about this before. You know, Taishay say, you slept with 3 men this week. What are you? And Jordan, if you slept with 3 ladies this week, what are you?
No,
pimp.
you the guy. You the guy.
Yeah.
Hold on.
He
My
said
kid.
about him.
My
And
the
it's
one, not the
still like
two.
that.
The
It's
one,
still
not
like,
the
I
two, the
feel like
three,
in
or the
all
four.
generations, it's still like that. Like men do not like women that get around, but they get around so much.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of women feel like that too. We don't want a man that's been ran through. So it's
But
like
I will say,
double
yeah.
standard.
I will say, like, I think that double standard is obviously a very negative thing, but I think part of the reason behind it is because it's so much easier for women, if that makes sense. So it's like you don't have to work as hard if you want to sleep around versus like men, it's almost like an accomplishment. Like you have enough game to be able to do that versus women, it's like, oh, you're just letting anybody. You know what I mean? Like
That's
you
a
just
great way to put that.
Listen, more than you, I know what you mean. If we had 75 women in here right now, and a guy walked in and said, "Who wants to leave and have sex with me?" It's gonna take a minute, right? But let there be 75 dudes in here and a fine girl walking and say, "Who want to come home with me?" You don't have to pick a number, do something with the lottery system or something. So I do get that. It's a lot easier. You said what, Jackson?
Said it'll be a brawl to the last man standing.
You don't took out your best. Jackson said he don't stab your best friend.
I think women may have it a little bit harder, especially when it comes to that, because I mean I don't really see men bashing other men when they come to sleeping with a lot of women. As far as if you see a woman sleeping with a lot of women, some women will bash that same woman, whereas it's totally opposite with men. So I think women definitely probably have it a little bit harder.
Yeah, it's a double standard all the way around.
Yeah.
So like men bash us, women bash us.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I think women are crueler to women than men.
For sure.
So, yeah.
I mean,
in a lot of
Women are
regards,
definitely more snaky to other women.
Well, I think nowadays is changing because of like OnlyFans and like porn and everything like that. I think like as far as men, I haven't really seen, but maybe I'm just biased based off of how I feel. But like I don't really like care what you do. You know what I'm saying? But and as far as maybe I don't know about how other men feel, but maybe like the men are starting to like not really care as much or numb because it's so widely available. But women are just maybe bashing a little bit more than women because of that. I'm not.
Wait, so you mean to tell me you would marry someone that slept with the whole crew and all that?
I'm trying to date a stripper.
I mean, it doesn't. I don't really care
married.
what you do in your past. If I like you and we have a good connection, and like you can hang out with somebody all the time, and if y'all just mesh well and have a good connection, like I don't care what you've done. It's not like I could feel a difference, like down there. Like if we have sex or whatever, you know, I can't like. I mean, just being honest, the body will come back to normal. Like,
no, OJ looked at you like, boy, if you had
the body comes back to normal. Like the body will go back to normal. It heals itself.
OJ just looked at you, Jordan, like, get her after me. Good luck.
I mean, I'm not saying like if a girl immediately just got done having sex, like I'm gonna be like,
no,
yeah,
Jordan, I get that. But I get what you're saying. But I also get what you're saying where you're like, hey, what you did before is what you did before. As long as you ain't doing the shit when you're with me.
I mean,
Well,
even
no,
if you're dating a porn star, if that's the
No.
understanding that
I
y'all
mean,
have,
like somebody who's sleeping with a lot of people, but you're not
yeah,
doing that when you're with me. You're just with me.
exactly. I don't care.
Everybody's got a pass. I think we need to stop shaming adults for being adults. That's
Exactly. Celebrities do it all the time. They sleep
Right.
with each
But
other like
okay,
no
Jordan,
tomorrow.
I'll ask you though, would you like you'd be willing to date a porn star, but would you marry someone you know is like currently a porn star?
Well, I never said I would be okay with it. I said if y'all are in a relationship, if y'all are in a relationship, if you are in a relationship with
I feel
somebody
like
and y'all have an understanding, that's fine. But me personally, if you did it, I don't really care. But just because I'm not thinking about that. But you know what I'm saying? But if I am that person that doesn't care fully, then
But
I
see, what
would.
I'm saying is,
I
I feel
would.
like hypothetically, we would all love to say like your past is your past, and it's nothing you should be ashamed of. It's fine. And I think like objectively, we can look at somebody else, like a friend or whatever, and be like, oh yeah, like you're totally fine. But when it comes to actually putting that in, like I know I wouldn't want to date a porn star. I don't know any men who would like actually want to date a porn star, have sex with a porn star.
It
Sure.
depends on
No,
the
they'll still date.
I
level.
would do it.
I'm gonna go,
Adam 22.
I'm gonna go to OJ real quick after I say this. It depends on how much depends on the level of love you are with that person.
Yeah.
Because how many things in life have we said we wouldn't do, and we've met somebody that has gotten us to do it? Not gotten us to do
Exactly.
it like they forced it, but you've had that connection enough to where you said, "Well, I would never do that," but you
You're
know
right.
what?
Yep,
We'll do it
that's
now.
true.
You take a deep breath and you're just like,
Yeah.
well, fuck
Because
it.
those,
Okay,
And then it hurts.
porn
And then it
star.
hurts.
Yeah.
I know what y'all going with that. Like,
those double standards go both ways. Watch this. OJ, let's say you and no, I'm gonna pick Taishay because Morgan's too progressive, I'm gonna pick Taishay. You and Taishay are dating, right? Let's say you're both 28, okay? Taishay tells you, in college in my freshman year, I experimented. Me and this girl, we started kissing, making out, we ate each other out, and and then I did it with like 3 other girls, and then I was kind of over it, and that was it. How would you feel?
I have questions.
You're
Like
28. She did it when she was a freshman in college.
when she was a
How
freshman in
would
college.
you feel? I don't want to know your conversation, but how would you feel?
If she was a freshman in college, she was like 19, 20. That's almost 10 years ago. That's really none of my business.
Your face says your answer. You really could care less.
Yeah, that was 10 years ago.
Hey, you're both 28, and OJ told you he sucked a dick when he was a
I
freshman,
knew that was coming.
and he didn't like it, and so he never did it again. How you feel?
I'm done.
The eyebrow is going to be raised every time. You're going to be like,
It is.
hello.
Hey, guys can't have that. Not saying that guys would, straight guys would want to, but that was just me bringing out the double standards just always exist across the board. You ladies are allowed to have the lesbian experience, right? It's just the experience. A guy could never admit that happened. They could never admit that happened.
I don't know if I would judge it though. Like I've never been in that position, but I have been with a guy or two that I was kind of like, I know you did something with somebody.
But I think you wouldn't. But I wanted to get your natural. I got both of your natural reaction when I posed the question to him. He immediately had the face like, "I'm the fuck." When I posed the question to you, you were like, "Oh."
That behooved me.
Oh man. So why have we gotten to this point? What do you think contributes to this point for men where we now have to label people alphas and betas?
I feel like right now it's just because we're getting to that point where the roles are changing so much. And so now it's like, okay, we're kind of getting rid of that alpha beta thing. But then there are still some people out there that are like, I still like the male roles. Like for me, for example, workplace, that doesn't bother me, regardless if like the man makes more or if I make more, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. Paying bills, that's fine. We can split the bills, but you gonna take that trash outside.
I think alpha and beta has definitely turned more into like an attitude sense.
Yeah.
Because before it was like the bigger person, the alpha, the smaller person is the beta. But honestly and truly, a person could be buff as hell and still be soft or not have a great job. Whereas somebody who is slim could have a great job and a lot of power, and it's the attitude that he has, and he's just like, I got this. Don't worry about it. I
I
got
agree with
this.
that.
I think like this whole being so obsessed with having the labels of I'm an alpha or this is a beta or whatever, and really imposing that on people is sort of come as like backlash for how progressive things have got in terms of gender and sexuality in the past like 5 years. We're in a completely different space now than we were 5 years ago. And I think sort of as a result of that, people are confused, or people who don't want to accept that are going even further in the other direction, which is now being super outspoken about being an alpha male versus just like you're a man. Nobody had to question it before. Now they feel as if it's being put into question. So I have to sort of overexert this this idea that I am this alpha male.
OJ, is it because people care too much about what people who aren't their friends or family around them thinks? Because, you know, everybody who knows you knows what you are and who you are. I think sometimes people care about other people's opinion that have no value or can't make any decisions to determine where you're going in life.
I feel like that's part of the reason. I feel like it has a lot to do with, I know my generation, there's a thing right now of like, men are like learning to have standards to an extent. And so that's where I feel like it gets misguided as far as the whole alpha male thing. Like, it'll be taken as having standards as like, oh, I got to be this certain type of man and I'm supposed to have multiple girls. I'm supposed to be able to pick this. And that's not what that is. Like, that's not what being an alpha male is. It's being misconceived by people that have taken that and then twisted it to make it their own thing. And I feel like that has a lot to do with the whole alpha male thing.
Jackson, if your wife or fiance makes 4 times what you make, is that a problem?
No, I stay at home, watch the kids.
And then what would guys call him, Taisha?
Yeah, house dad.
They call me a bum.
Yeah, house dad.
I'll be a
You a
bum.
house dad.
Yeah, beta.
They won't use the good words like house dad. They
call
won't
me a
use
bum.
that. They'll say a
call me a
bum, you a beta.
I can see that.
If y'all know who Chad Ochocinco is, he is a house dad, but he played in the NFL, and his wife is working. She makes all the money. He stays home.
Chad, he be eating McDonald's every day faithfully. That man tripping. That man.
He retired. He stays in the house.
He still got his own money though.
He does. He did a lot.
Talking about double standards, I don't know if anybody saw the Chris Rock special.
I did.
I saw that.
And
a live one.
Chris Rock sucks.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. He sucks.
What? Okay. You're allowed. Comedy is subjective. You're gonna think some people are funny, and too bad more people think he's funny than you might think you suck. But I
probably do. That's okay.
He did bring up a good point though when we talk about double standards. He said Beyonce is one of the finest women I've ever seen in my life. If she worked at Burger King, she could still pull Jay-Z. But if Jay-Z worked at Burger King, he ain't pulling Beyonce.
That's very true.
That's why
you
can go on YouTube and you can watch gold digger pranks where these guys rent these cars and they'll talk to a girl dressed like a bum, and then he'll walk off to the car, and then the girl's like, ooh, what's your name? What you doing? But you just told him to fuck off 5 minutes ago.
I'm sorry to bust your bubble, though. Those have been found to be staged. I get the point.
That's just an example. I'm not saying it's real.
I love it, though. But it is, and they did a study. Jackson, they did an actual real study, and it kind of goes in line with what you're saying. They took 100 women and 100 men. So they put the 100 women in. I forgot who did it. I learned it when I was getting my doctorate. Sorry. They put 100 women in a room and they showed the men and they told them to rank them attractive, average, or unattractive. So the unanimous, most people said the attractive ones were attractive, the average ones were average, and the unattractive ones were unattractive. They took them out of the room. They brought in 100 men. They did the same thing. They put up a bunch of women's pictures. Then they took them out of the room. Then they brought the women back in. Now they put these men, same men, but they changed what was behind them, like that size of the house or the car. So now the attractive men who were in front of the Corollas were average mostly. The ones who were average, but they were in front of a Lamborghini or a mansion, they were now attractive, and people were flip-flopping. When they brought the guys back in, If he thought that bitch was ugly, she was still ugly. If he thought that woman was fine, she was still fine. So they were like, wait, are men really the ones who are shallow, or is it the women?
But okay, I will say this is sort of, in my opinion, like I think it's fucked up on both ends, but like it's sort of a fair exchange, because it's like, yes, we value like money, but that's like, you value beauty. So it's like we spend a bunch of money, time, effort, whatever, to look a certain type of way. Like effort goes into that. And I think, and if, as fucked up as it is, like a really ugly dude can pull a really attractive girl if he like presents himself well, if he like works hard and he's, I don't know, whatever. But like, if you're an ugly girl, like you're really kind of going through life with all the disadvantages, because you're not going to get like special treatment. You're not going to get attention from guys. And it's like, there's not a ton you can do to fix your physical appearance. There's a lot you can do to fix the way that you come off to other people.
Ooh.
Like, so it's sort of a fair exchange. Like, I know men complain about it all the time. Like, oh, you want someone who makes a bunch of money, makes a bunch of money, makes a bunch of money. You want a girl who looks like a supermodel. That's effort. You don't wake up in the morning and just look like a supermodel. You have to put in effort to do that. And it's almost even more emotionally taxing, because it is completely about how you look. It's not about what you have on the inside or what you've worked hard to get at all. Like, and so in that too, when you talk about, you could take an ugly dude, put him in front of like a super expensive car, and all of a sudden he's attractive. You could take someone with a great personality, and like, but if they're in a unattractive body, men are not going to be interested. But you put like that super great personality in a beautiful person's body, and they're like, oh my God, look at this girl, she's amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Fellas,
I also think really quick, the gender roles play a role in it too, because you know, we grew up thinking men are always supposed to take care of the house. Men are supposed to take care of the women. So of course we're gonna go for a guy that's got all this money, because we know he's gonna take care of us, versus the guy that doesn't have much. He's not gonna be able to take care of us.
Right.
So it kind of goes back to those old roles, and that's why we so confused on them.
Two things to sum up what Morgan said, and I want fellas y'all to comment on. Two things she said. I'm gonna sum up her dissertation, right? She said, one, guys, you gotta have big D energy. That's what she said. Okay? Don't come with little D energy. That's what she said. That's kind of what she said. That's what I heard. And she said, ladies, when a man sees a beautiful woman, the first thing in his mind isn't, I wonder if she has a master's degree. All right. Go ahead. Y'all response to what the ladies just said.
I tell this to my friends all the time, right? I am more of a personality person. And this is kind of in agreement of what Morgan said. I am more of a personality person. But you gotta look somewhat decent for me to get to want to know you. And that's fucked up on both ends, like she said. However, for somebody like Joe Coy did a comedy special, and he was talking about stereotypes. He was talking about stereotypes, and he was talking about some guy and his stereotype of him being Asian, and they're like, okay, you have this and I have this, but I have good credit, so look what I got. And it's like talking about what good credit can get you when it comes to women. So I think, like, yes, it's bad that men have to find an attractive woman, but on the opposite end, I think it's extra fucked up that somebody can go from a 0 to like an 8 just because they have money.
I think that's more fucked up.
Well,
like they say,
with a man, even if a man finds a 5, she's like a 5, but she's a great person, that man will fall in love with that girl because she's a good person. And men will
y'all fall in love. Y'all penis falls in love. It ain't y'all's minds.
No. Wait. I kind of get where you're going, but he's talking about you meet her, and it's kind of like one of those things where you fall in love over time, whereas she's not the one that it was love at first sight. Yeah. You know, as soon as you saw her, you're like, damn, I want to get that number. A lot of guys who have ended up marrying or dating someone who, and again, I'm not the one to call somebody attractive or unattractive, but less attractive than them. A lot of times they started out as friends. If Jackson it's how it used to work back in the day. Jackson walks up, he's heard about some girl. He's like, hey, what's up with your girlfriend, Alicia? Oh, she good people.
Yeah,
What's
I-
up with your girl Morgan? Oh, Morgan. Oh, she bad.
yeah.
She
I
bad.
think
you can tell
yeah.
by the friend's reaction if the
Yeah.
girl's attractive or not.
Well, I think a lot of it too is that yes, that may be true. Where like a woman, everything you said might also be true, but at the end of the day, if the man's not truly happy with that woman and vice versa, it's not the relationship won't work out in general.
There are
So
some truly. I'm sorry, bro.
no, you're good. You're good. The relationship's not going to work out in general, and then the woman may end up on the come up, and then she gets like half the money if they get a divorce, and or whatever. So, and whereas a woman, if she's rich and the guy is poor, she like same. It's the same thing. Like nobody's going to truly stay in the relationship if they're not happy. So, no matter how attractive or unattractive you are, even if you make it rich, if y'all don't work out and mesh together personally, then all of that. Everything else is for nothing. You're gonna go find the unattractive woman and be with her because you've had the fine woman and y'all didn't mesh right. So you would much rather live with a 5 and be rich or poor than vice versa, or
You
you just live
would-
miserable, or you just live miserable, or whatever.
You would. but we- Go ahead, OJ.
I don't know. Maybe that's just for what I've seen. Every celebrity, they could be famous, attractive, and all that, and they get a divorce.
Well, we
Or
never
Johnny
wanna
Depp,
use-
they're
we
attractive
don't-
and all that, and
we
they
don't wanna
get
use-
beaten up and all that. They
Well,
get
we're talking
divorced,
about-
separated, and they find regular people.
We're talking about everyday people because celebrity, that's a whole different stratosphere over there. Some of them are married just because there's two people with a name that are married, and some are really in love and
Happiness
all
plays
that.
effect.
But we have seen people, you said it doesn't work if they're not. We've seen a lot of people stay in relationships too long that aren't happy, and I know everybody's going to laugh because I would bring this up again. When I see somebody that's taking on a toxic, like for instance, if I see a female or even a male that's dating a male, a friend of mine, and they're staying in a terrible relationship too long, I always say this: is the dick that good? Like what? It can't be that good for you to keep going back over there.
That's where the toxicity comes into play.
Yep.
Yeah, and then I say, but have y'all seen those people? They may not be friends of yours. That it seems like they need that. I know couples that need that. They feel like that's how they show they love each other. I was told when me and my wife in year 5 of marriage, and they were like, "How many arguments have y'all gotten in?" I was like, "We haven't gotten in any." Oh, she doesn't really love you. I'm like, what?
I've heard that too. I've heard
Yeah,
that.
like what?
Mhm. Well, I mean, I don't know.
Go ahead.
I feel like that depends on like how you grow up and how much
Yeah.
stability you had as a kid and what you saw growing up as a kid. So that's
Exactly.
what relationships are supposed to be like.
Yep.
That's gonna tell you how much you're gonna deal with.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like watching my parents and watching other people. I would just learn a lot of what not to do.
Exactly.
There are some people that are like that too. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Mhm.
But what I was gonna say was that there are some really, really shitty men. Like there are some. I got homies that are shitty ass men. Like they're awful people. They're my friends, but they're awful people. Right? Listen.
Why are they your friends then? That's a whole nother show.
They're my friends for fun.
Well, you know
then
what? Okay, wait. I can't really dump on you, Jackson, because you're in your 20s, right?
I'm turning 20 next month.
Yeah. So I had some. Well, when I was growing up, I didn't have shitty friends. I got rid of them. But in my 20s, I kind of had some shitty friends. But by the time I got 30, I was like, all right, that's enough of the shitty friends. So I can't really.
They're shitty. I don't take part in the shittiness.
No. I got you.
I stay true to myself, and I let them do them. But when I want to have fun and do stupid shit, that's what I do.
Be labeled with them regardless.
No, but they're more like they're associates. He calls them friends because that word he'll get a better grasp of that word. But they're I know they're associates.
They're the homies. They ain't the friends.
Yeah.
They the
I have
homies.
one friend who's in my house. I have one friend who's in my house right now. Everybody else, I just like when they call me, I answer type shit.
Yeah.
But like there are some very shitty men, and they will do you dirt. They will do you greasy as hell. But when at the end of the day, a man must be taken care of just as much as a woman does. I do manual labor.
Okay, but here's the thing. It's like it's in a different way. Like men take care of men emotionally. So it's like if I'm contributing more like emotionally and financially, it's like it's uneven. And at that point, what happens is I no longer need you. And thus I'm going to move accordingly, and resentment builds from that. I've seen it, and I'm not the type of person who thinks that the man needs to work more. Like my mother is the breadwinner. I grew up knowing that I'm gonna be able to provide for myself because I don't want to have to depend on anybody else.
Damn, give me your number.
However, the problem is if I am contributing significantly more than you in our relationship financially and emotionally, because like that's what you need and that's fine. Oh, my light just went out. Then
I was like, what just happened?
Then I'm contributing everything and I don't need you. I'm doing everything, and that's going to create an imbalance in the relationship that's going to create resentment and a lack of respect on my end for you. Because it's like you at that point, you can't tell me anything. You can't tell me anything.
I'm one of those people that says I can make the money and you just take care of me at home. Like and not in no like disrespectful way, but like when I come home, I would like to be met with a meal. I would like to like have clothes in the bathroom ready for my shower, stuff like that. I can make all the money. That's how I feel personally. I'll make all the money, but when I come home, don't give me a cold shoulder. Like take care of me. Like I just busting my ass all day. Like.
But see, a lot of men aren't like that though. They want that, but they also want you to help pay bills, and that's where the issue lies.
That all comes to y'all's understanding and communication between one another. Y'all have to find that balance and equalness so y'all can be in a relationship and be grounded. Because if y'all don't, then y'all will find somebody else. Y'all will cheat. Y'all will do whatever to find that solidness.
Well,
That's
I
what
think
it is.
that comes to when Morgan was saying emotionally. I think more women cheat emotionally and men cheat physically. That's why you always see man caught cheating at hotel, motel, in office, behind dumpster, in car. And you always hear man walks in on woman cheating in own bed. And he's like, how could you do that in my bed? And I'm like, well, women usually cheat. It's usually because you're not giving them something emotionally.
Exactly.
And they're finding it somewhere else. And a lot of guys, when they cheat, it's just about hitting the ass. So it's a different conundrum for each one of them.
But does it justify one or the other?
No, it does not justify one or the other, but no one person's responsible. Some, like Jackson said, some people are just dog, but every time someone cheats in a relationship is not always because they just wanted to screw somebody. Somebody wasn't getting, something led to that, for that to happen. You know, it just happened. And when Jackson was talking about homies being shitty, well, I was going to agree with you because when one of my homie used to say this, he found out his girl was cheating and he got so pissed. And I was like, dude, you've cheated on her like 5 times. That's different.
It's that could be a manipulative thing on that man's part.
That's
trying to control the woman.
Toxic masculinity thing.
Mm-hmm.
How many women can I control and still
he could have
what I do?
He could have female friends, but she couldn't have male friends.
Yep, that's how it is.
That's
what a lot of men have been taught to conquer versus nurture. And that's a lot of
you know your man's not a cheater when he allows you to be friends with males that you're already just platonic friends with. Because it's usually the cheater who's so worried about you cheating.
Yep, I agree.
I've never cheated on anybody I've never dated or been married to, so I've never given a shit. You know, and I think that when you can tell when someone's cheating because they always think you are.
Exactly.
Like, I know what I would do.
Universe thing, like it's coming back to me. So now I feel like because I did that, she's doing it too.
Well, Chris Rock, your favorite guy, said it in one of his specials. He said a man's as faithful as his options. I don't necessarily agree with that because I'm not a cheater. But for people who are cheaters, that is exactly correct. Cheaters are, I'll put that for anybody. Cheaters are as faithful as their options.
It's all mentality.
I'm tired of being Buddha.
I'm just saying, it's all mentality. A man cannot be in that space. He could get all these women.
God damn it, Jordan! Don't run through the punchline. That's not how shows work. But every time Jordan comes in his mic, he just sounds like the voice of reason.
He really does.
Hey, y'all follow me and hire me on Fiverr. Y'all got me. Hell yeah.
He's the moral compass of the show. Go ahead, Jordan. I'm sorry.
Oh, shit fire. What was I talking about?
Yeah.
Shit fire. It's gone with the wind. I ain't even gonna lie. It's
going with something while your memory's slipping. It's going.
I'm trying to tell you. Goddamn. My kid's knocking on the door. I'm like, oh man.
Ladies,
I'd have put it on mute. I said, go lay down.
Ladies, could you deal with a man who played video games too much?
I have.
I love it.
Would you much rather go play video games or go out to the club and be?
Let him marinate and answer the question.
Okay, I will say right now I'm dating someone who doesn't play video games, and it is the nicest thing ever. Because I cannot tell you how many times I've sat and watched someone play video games for an hour. I don't even like playing video games. So to watch someone else play is like soul crushing. It is so annoying. If I am in your presence, don't play your game. When I'm not there, I don't care what you do. It's your leisure time. It's your prerogative.
It's an easy way to get him off the game. Put that hair, take that hair and put it and tie it up. He'll be like, hey guys, I gotta go.
I have a story to that though. I had a guy that just stayed on the games all day, and there was one day I sat with him pretty much all day watching him play the stupid video games. And there was one moment my phone rang and I went to take the call upstairs because he was talking to the people in the video game. So I didn't want them to hear my conversation. I come back downstairs, he pauses the game and was like, that better not have been a nigga you was talking to.
My God.
Like you wasn't paying attention to me that whole time. And then my phone rings and
hey, there's some girls that when you're playing video games and you're chatting, if they hear a girl voice, they will lose their shit.
But on the back end, if when your man is home and all he does is play the game, or like if he plays the game and is only at home playing the game, are you really losing? You know where he at, you know what he's doing. Exactly. He's just on the game.
But also to me, it's like do something more productive with your life. Go on a run. Go like read a book.
Okay. So if a dude goes to work, goes to the gym, gets home and plays the game, are you really losing?
This is what I mean.
Why am I in a relationship? You're not giving me no time.
What?
Women love attention.
Hold on, so like you don't like for him to play the game at all, like at all?
No, I don't mind it.
You can play video games. Like I'm not saying I'm anti-video game, but it's annoying when that's like what you do. When that's like all you do. If you're not working. And all you do, if you're not like working, is playing video games. Like,
that's a total different. Yeah, that's a total different. I was about to say, I don't like it when you take my credit card to the mall for 5 hours, but that's a hobosexual. I learned that a month ago.
What?
A
hobosexual.
A hobosexual is a dude that lays up in a woman's house, eats and plays video games, ain't got no job.
Right.
In her house. That's a hobosexual.
Like my dad.
Never be my man. Sorry.
But nowadays you could play video games all day and get paid.
Yeah.
Well, but see, that's that fairy tale. That's like you can be a rapper and be a millionaire. That ain't everybody. Everybody that's playing. Me and Jackson play Call of Duty. It's a whole bunch of people on there ain't making no money.
Yeah, it's a lot.
No money, and
it takes a lot to get that 1,000 views.
He's 10 times better than them, and he don't even play on a regular.
Oh yeah,
and they play all day, every day, and they're still terrible. But no, I asked that because that's a thing I see, of course, like on TikTok a lot of women getting mad because their guys on the video game all day. And what I thought about was when I was in my 20s, when I was married, we used to play in Miami. We used to play football every Sunday, and for like 5 Sundays, this guy was missing. And then one Sunday he showed up and all the wives used to sit in like these chairs and they're like, where have you been? Oh, I didn't want him to come out here for a while. Why? I just wanted him to stay home. I'm like, but he's out and exercise and play. Like, would you rather him have gone to the strip club every Saturday night? Like, right. I don't get it. It was like one of these women that wanted to control whatever he did. And I'm like, I can't do it. My wife was just looking at her like, you're stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. See, to me, that's very different. Like, I wouldn't care if you were going and doing something like that. Yeah, I don't know what it is about video games.
It's your trigger. It's Morgan's trigger.
I really don't get it. I'm like, it's not fun. You're sitting there, and I think it's because people take them so seriously too. Like they act like it's like a sport. Like it's real. Like this is war. It's like
it
is a sport.
Maybe like virtual reality.
What?
Put the VR headset on and be a part of the game.
I don't know if you didn't know this, Morgan. Men like anything that they can do to dominate another male.
Growing up, like Power Rangers and shit.
Whether that's actual sports, whether that's video game, whether that's dominoes. It feels so much different saying domino motherfucker to you, Morgan. It don't feel the same as when I say domino motherfucker to OJ.
Exactly. And that's the same concept.
When I say it to you, Morgan, I just slam the dice on the table. When I say it to Morgan, I like WWE slam through the table. The table shatters. you know.
Yeah. I mean, playing video games is not bad. It's just overdoing it. That's just like, and then if I'm there while you're playing video games, that's a problem. You should be spending time with your
I
girlfriend.
told you how to get them to stop.
Yeah, for the moment, and then they right back on it.
You're supposed to take the soul. No, I'm just kidding. So, you guys, this has been a great conversation. We've talked some good points. We've kind of gone gambit all over the board. I'm gonna love to do a lot more of these crossover episodes about different topics. It won't always be about. Oh wait, our last one. We had to get into it. We kind of glazed over it. I think we did talk about it. We talked about cheating, right? How it's looked at differently for men and women.
A little bit.
A little bit, not much.
Yeah. So what I want to wrap it up with some final thoughts, and we're gonna start with OJ.
With
Oh wait, OJ. I'm sorry, you knew. You ain't never did this before. Final thoughts. Let's start with Jordan. What's your final thoughts?
Shit. I mean, honestly, I think it should be fair game, honestly, all across the board. But unfortunately, there are things that happen that are lent more towards men and women as far as toxicity and everything, and cause men and women to be at odds. So, we got to find a fair ground on both ends. So that way communication is key, mentality is key. So, what I'm saying, men and women can progress together. That's what I think.
Okay. Taisha.
My last thoughts. I honestly feel like we should all treat each other as individuals and not label each other or put each other in groups. Specifically talking about like the masculine, feminine, beta, alpha. It should be more so who that individual is and if that individual fits with you. So,
OJ Street.
I feel like a lot of it depends on whether we need more people to show people how to properly express themselves, like we're doing now, like how to properly express themselves, how to be able to get a lot of the anger and stuff they may have out. A lot of it is, like we've been saying, communication, and we need people willing to like sit down and like want to teach people stuff rather than resent them because like, oh, they just don't get it, when sometimes people just need help and we need to find a way to get that to them.
Jackson.
I kind of agree with Tasha. I think it needs to stop being men and women and be like, okay, you're a person, I'm a person, you're capable of what you're capable of, I'm capable of what I'm capable of. So like, why is there, okay, you're a woman, you should cook and clean, and I'm a man, I should make money. Why is it not, okay, you're a woman, you can work, I'm a man, I can work, I'm a man, I can cook, you're a woman, you can cook. Like, why do genders have roles? We're all people, is how I feel.
Morgan.
Yeah, sort of like related to what Jackson was saying. I think like we get really caught up in archetypes, and we need to stop making decisions and basing our opinions based off what someone we don't even know told us how things are supposed to be. Like, I think that's really what it is that we have a lot of ideas because people in the world and society tell us that that's how it's supposed to be, and nobody really questions why. Yeah.
I think the roles were determined. Roles are determined by whatever made men happy. Like when we started these roles, the roles were one-sided. It's what makes the man satisfied and happy. It was never what made the woman satisfied and happy. A woman's supposed to be happy by serving her man. And that's the way it started. And a lot of people, especially older people, have a hard way of processing that. Hell, some women can't cook, like Jackson was saying. So let me cook. I don't mind cooking you a meal. It tastes good, don't it? We both enjoyed it. And I think the one thing that people need to look for is the H word. Out of all this shit, are you happy? If you're happy, the hell with what everybody else
gotta say. Yep.
Right. I have a friend that's in an open relationship. My other friend told him, you don't love yourself because you're in an open relationship. And I'm like, they've been in an open relationship for 13 years. You can't keep somebody for 3 months.
Yeah.
For them, it doesn't work for you. So great topic today, guys. As usual, the ladies from Pretty Smart did an excellent job, and our fellows from Brilliant Swag. Catch us
Friday.
Yeah, Friday. I think we don't want to do it next Friday or the Friday after. I got to look at the dates. Catch us next time on Pretty Smart. We'll go back to its regular time of 9 p.m. and then catch Brilliant Swag right after it at 10 p.m. And everybody enjoy your night. Have a great weekend. We'll see y'all.
Hell yeah.
Get out your phone, Jackson.
Sorry.